Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Big Brother Canada 11 episode recap podcast for a Tuesday night. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and we are here to talk about this HOH and nomination episode of Big Brother Canada 11. And guess what? This time, zero farts.
There was some talk about popping pimples at one point.
We did go to a pimple popping, but I think on the scale of farts to pimple popping to just nothing, we're still not quite all the way at farts at this point. I mean, we didn't have to see the pimple popping like 5 times.
Well, see if Puya can tier list that at the end of the season.
Maybe. Well, you heard him. Rob Cesternino is here with us tonight. How you doing, Rob?
Back here for Tuesday, Big Brother, baby.
Yes. How excited are you?
Yeah. Well, you know, the nice thing about there not being live feeds is that I feel like it didn't miss too much since the last time I was on. So ready to go. I'm locked in as anybody.
There you go. Yeah, you're just as knowledgeable as anybody here.
I mean, within reason. Yeah.
Also joining us tonight is Lovina. How you doing, Lovina?
I'm doing okay, as good as you can be. I feel like I made a pact with myself about a week ago where I was like, I'm not going to get upset about this anymore. I'm going to watch this show and view it kind of just like as a big shit post. I'm privy to a good shit post in my life, so view it as that, I guess. We're here.
We are here indeed. Also here is Mary. How you doing, Mary?
I'm doing great. As great as you can be with Big Brother Canada 11. But much like Rob, you know, the couple days ago, I realized I wasn't caught up on the digital dailies. And then I realized, is it worth it to catch up on the digital dailies? Just watch the episodes, right? That's what they want. Maybe this is actually just the perfect scenario for the show, right? Bring more people to the episodes. It doesn't matter if they hate it. They're there.
Well, luckily, Mary, I have a great solution for you because every day we put out an update where we recap and we give you all of the necessary information from the daily drops so you don't have to watch them yourself.
Yeah. Product placement.
You know, and really, in the era of, you know, peak streaming right now, you know, everybody's behind on like a million shows. Like, in a way, no live feeds is kind of a favor for everybody, right?
I feel like it's harder. I don't know if this is true for anyone else, but I feel like it's more difficult because the thing drops and everyone's talking about it and you're like, but give me a second here. Like I need to figure out when I can watch it. It's just weird. It's just like, okay, and when is it going to happen? Like, when do I need to make time for it? And obviously, like, it's extra hard specifically from my end. So maybe this is not true for anyone else, but like, I actually feel like it's more difficult to keep up than it normally would be.
Keeping you on your toes.
Yeah,
let me tell you.
The unexpected.
This is my favorite show, and I've never felt more like a casual ever. Like, since I started watching live feeds, I've never felt more like casual, and I've thought, is this a good thing? Is it not? But no, I agree with Taran that it actually makes it much more difficult because I want to be checked out, but I know I never will be because it's my favorite show. And then I'll go on Twitter and actually retweeted something this morning or yesterday saying that 2 people were on the block that weren't actually on the block, and they had to, like, the person who tweeted it had to write a correction, and then that was confusing, and it was a whole thing, and I think that's what makes it harder for me. But I mean, I'm here. Again, I'm here. We're here.
Yeah. I mean, the theme this season is that it's all a big mystery, okay? And this is a very interactive theme, and you are a participant in the mystery.
I don't want to participate anymore.
But a good mystery is scripted, so there's a way to hunt and figure it out.
Well,
no. I think if you're
tell that to true crime podcasts.
Well, the beauty of Big Brother normally is that it's normally a mystery, but then you can solve it by watching the live feeds and figuring things out. The show is a mystery. Now I don't know if it counts as a mystery if you're just clueless the whole time.
Oh, well, it happens.
Taran, that's why you are our Benoit Blanc to help us solve this. What's happening?
I'm here to save your booties.
Boy, how many times an episode can Renee talk about the bootay?
Yeah.
Do you think, is this like just a common Canadian pronunciation?
No.
Or is that
No, I
all
think this is all
Renee?
Renee.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
is, I think, 100% a Renee thing. And,
Do you-
and to Renee's friends and family, I would ask, are you like this all the time, or is this just TV Renee?
My hunch is that Renee came in being like, okay, I just want to make one thing happen. If I can make
I need a
bootay
thing.
happen, then we're good. And she figured they're not going to show it every time I say it, but maybe they'll show it a couple times. But no, they're actually showing it every single time she says it.
She's like a Canadian Cat Dunn. She's like, I need a thing.
Yeah.
Well, she's also saying things. I think she's just saying things to see, hey, maybe this will catch on. She's saying girly. I heard you say girly pops.
Girly
Like,
pops.
what does that mean?
Yeah, what is a girly
There's something
pops?
else too.
Well,
I don't know.
in my
Is that
mind,
like a cereal?
I'm imagining like popsicles with people's faces on them.
Oh, wow.
Like girly pops. Yeah.
Girlies.
Yeah, I have a friend who says girly cat for a lot of things. Like, oh, that's very girly cat. I still don't know what it means.
I don't either.
I still have no clue, but yeah, it's very similar. You just say things and it'll happen.
That's how the bootay works.
Sell a t-shirt after the show.
Yeah, it's launch the merch. When she releases a t-shirt that sells like hotcakes that says "Save my bootay" and bootay's on the back.
Well,
it's,
no,
who's gonna be
I mean,
laughing?
It's sweatpants, and I think it says bootay on the butt.
Mm,
I think that's
yeah.
really
I'd wear that in the house.
It's a little on the nose or on the
Come on,
butt, so
Renee.
to speak. But
Mhm.
On the bootay.
yeah.
I'm into it.
Well, we did watch an episode tonight. And in this episode, we saw an HOH competition. We saw some Wendy's. We saw some winners. We saw some losers.
What happened to the Bel Air Direct Safe Person of the Week? Is that not a thing?
That was a one-time deal.
One and done?
Yeah,
Well, they'll probably
that
bring
and
it back later.
The dead last one-time
Yeah.
things.
I mean, it's a good thing, I think, overall. Who do we
All
think would
right.
have won? I mean, it's not even worth asking. Jonathan would have won the safety this week since he didn't win last week. If they had done it again, we can pretty much guarantee that if they do bring it back, it's Jonathan's. I think.
Why do you
if he's
say
still
that?
there.
See, I don't even know why you say that.
Oh,
Why would it be
because he's
John-
one of those like he's from a location that votes a lot, that always wins the votes. Him and Claudia
Oh.
both were from.
See, I was
Newfoundland.
gonna say I
Yeah.
knew about that about Claudia, but I didn't even know that about Jonathan because I don't know these people.
See, I thought that was another Daniel in the house, that guy. Jonathan.
No, there's only
I'm gonna write
two
that down.
Daniels.
Yes. Okay.
There were
There
there were
were
two Johns,
Yeah.
but one of them's gone. So
Okay.
you know that makes it easy.
The other
Uh,
problem is that a lot of people have nicknames. So sometimes I'm like, okay, there's a Rob and a Roberto. No, there's not. It's the same person.
Same
Yeah,
person.
when
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
Rob become Roberto?
He didn't. That's just what
It's the
Zach
other
calls
way
him.
around. Yeah.
The holes are like, then Roberto did, and then he was lower thirded on the screen tonight as Roberto. And listen, I applaud the move. I was getting very confused on all these podcasts of like, Rob is doing this. Oh, well, Rob, what is Rob's problem? Why is Rob doing this? But so I applaud Roberto, but I feel like that we basically, I feel like that I'm being gaslit here. There was no Roberto a couple days ago.
No,
I
there's still
thought
no
it
Roberto.
was. I swear, I thought it was the entire time because again, I have no idea. But honestly, it cannot be as bad as when they randomly mid-season for Big Brother 21 started calling Jackson Mickey.
Mixie.
They were doing the lower thirds, the same thing. They changed it, and even during competitions too, they would
That's why
write
Julie
Mickey.
had to say, also known as Mickey.
Yep.
Right. Makes no sense.
They were trying to rebrand. They're trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah, that worked out.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Kuzi is going to talk about how JM shouldn't have left, and that Zach and Santina are calling the shots. And hey, this HOH, it's critical that a woman wins this HOH.
That too.
And luckily, this is not an HOH where 6 men will be in the top 6 placement for the HOH. Wait, no, sorry. Got that one mixed up. We did get 6 men in the top 6 of the HOH competition. That's okay. Yeah. That sucks.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's going to continue this way as well. If by the patterns that we're seeing, I don't want to be too critical. It's only week 2, but
Did any women
not feeling
sit
great.
out of this competition, Taran?
Apparently all of them.
Huh.
I did like this competition visually, though.
Did you? Because I didn't. I thought it
Oh.
was impossible to follow.
I really liked it just because maybe it's like the endurance thing, but I mean, I know this is kind of right in line with like slip and slide from BBUS. It's like a similar kind of skill set and stuff. I mean, I think there's a very clear if your arms are longer advantage here on this one. So I mean, I would have done horrible at it, but I just thought it was kind of fun to watch just because at least it was different than just a puzzle.
Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like I feel like you had no idea who was actually doing well the whole time. You know, like you're just watching people go down a slide at some point. You know what I mean?
If they had a counter, that would have been fun. But
Would have been way
obviously,
better with a counter, I think.
yeah, it would have been great with a counter, but I think they obviously wouldn't do that because they don't want to. Can't spoil the reveal of who's in the top 3
It's
or whatever.
so easy. You just put a counter. You put a few people at a similar amount of points at one point, and then you like, oh, look at what's happening, and then you toward the end, it's like Rob and Dan are neck and neck. Which one is going to win? And you take one from Rob that's a little bit later in the competition. You take from Dan that's a little bit earlier in the competition. Make it seem like they're closer because they're lying to us anyway. They might as well lie to us in an entertaining way. And then they cut it off. Which one of them did it? We don't know. Oh my God. And then Dan won. Oh, wow. I can't believe Dan won. It looked like Rob was doing better. Oh, geez.
I mean, that's just correct producing. Like, that's how you're supposed to produce a
Yeah, sorry.
competition. Like, I just don't understand why they chose to go this route. But to be fair, I'm the type of person who blacks out during competitions. BBUS, BBCAN, like I forgot who I was on a podcast. I think it was Jenny Autumn who said the same thing, that she does not pay attention to the competitions because you just want to see what happens after, drama after, obviously social dynamics. But we're not getting really much of either of those things. So
I mean, I think the reason we black out during competitions is because they don't produce them very well, and they're not very like tense or entertaining. Like, because I think I have a reputation for being pretty anti-competition on the episodes. They take up too much time. I'm pretty critical of them. But I am also a person that loves competition shows. I love American Ninja Warrior. I watched this show on Netflix called Physical 100, and it was this South Korean show with all these muscle people, and they were all competing to see who had the best physique, and they were just doing challenges all the time, every time, and I loved it. It was great. Like, I'm into these things, but the Big Brother challenges are just so poorly produced and lame that I'm just like, nah, get it over with.
Okay, maybe it's because I spent literally 52 hours this weekend watching people run in a circle that I was like, I'm into this. This is fine.
This has a slide. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have a slide. They didn't have to throw a little ball into a hoop. But I was like, all right, cool. Now I did have a counter where I could check off when each person came through and keep track. But oh well. Yeah. I just thought it was different. I guess that was my main thing, that I was entertained with it.
It was different.
And the outfits. The outfits were cute.
yeah, that was good.
I think this competition works a lot better if they don't give it a 1 hour time limit. That's what guaranteed that all these guys were going to do so well, because, you know, over the course of time, having the height advantage, especially if you're also like a physically fit guy, having the, you know, cardio advantage, is just going to just completely overwhelm any kind of like skill that anybody else would have. If you don't have the cardio, you don't have the height, and you only have the skill, then that's, you know, you're just not going to do it. And even if you do have the cardio and the skill, not having the height is still probably not going to, you know, keep up after an hour of doing it.
Right.
So it's tough.
Fair.
You know who was really tough on?
Yeah.
Hope.
Yeah. He shouldn't have gone for those 10s. It's bad news.
Yeah, I really don't understand. Again, I don't want to be too overly critical, but a lot of the players this season are just not very good.
Yeah, what's his problem?
I mean, I don't know.
He's Hope Fitness.
Yeah,
he's supposed to win.
Did he know what this show was before he came on? It seemed like that they tricked him.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like he's one of those people that is probably a recruit and they're like, "Hey, want to come on a reality competition show?" And he's like, kind of similar to what Taran just described. He's like, "I'm down for a
Physical
competition
100?
show."
Yeah.
I think he thought it
Yeah.
was Physical 100. He was like,
Exactly
"Oh, that's
that.
Physical 101, the sequel."
Yeah, so I think that's what he thought he might have been signing up for. Hope seems like a really great guy. Again, don't really know too much about people this season. He seems one of the people that I would probably tolerate in the house well. But yeah, it just seems like the people this season don't really understand what the show is, whether it's somebody like Anika or Hope, or obviously Zach playing way too hard, which we'll get to. But yeah, I'm not feeling great about the strategy.
Are the prizes too good? Like the winners' outfits are just too fresh. That's why that Hope is getting very sad. He's not winning.
Plaid.
Yeah, blue plaid.
Blue plaid.
It's Canada.
Yeah.
Blue sneakers. Yeah.
How did we feel about the winner's outfit?
It didn't match, but
It was okay. I mean,
I polled my Twitch audience, and they collectively agreed, not great.
Not great.
I
What were the options?
Great, good, okay, not great, and terrible.
I would give it an okay. I think the pieces individually were fine.
I'd wear it.
Together, yeah, I don't know. Rob, I think you have worn that.
Yeah, I feel like you own that outfit.
Yeah. I donated it to winners.
did you say blue plaid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a big announcement. Check out the brand new Rob Cesternino line available at Winners. They are a new sponsor for the show, and so one of 9 new sponsors coming on this season. So please go out and check out Winners.
Do we get a discount code, Rob?
Yes, that's
Discount code
Patrons,
Roberto.
patrons.
yes, Roberto Winners with a Z.
Great.
I love it.
But Hope cried after he didn't win the competition.
Hope
He didn't cry.
cried.
He went on the block.
Rob
cried,
also cried.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot. Now, Hope also did the thing that's pretty annoying, which is the like second someone else wins the HOH, they're like, well, I'm not gonna kiss their ass. I'm not gonna like try to no, suck up to them. Like that's the game. Why are you like saying you actively won't play the game? Who do you think that scores you points with?
They don't know what the show is. That's the thing. Like I just don't. I could probably count on one hand who really came into the season knowing what the show is. One of them is Daniel C. and probably Kuzi.
And one of them is
think
gone.
of anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm not talking about JM.
I was just gonna say I don't think that's who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also got we got multiple your boys and your girls in this episode. We're really bringing that back, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
They love that in
trope.
Canada.
Yeah.
They love that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I seem to love that everywhere. It's I think Renee was like, your girl's bootay is on the line here. Get those
Come on,
girly
girly
pops.
Yeah. I wonder, is that like, do producers just talk like that? And then they basically, that's why we hear Big Brother contestants and nobody else in the world talk like that?
You think they're like, listen, you're our girl. All right. You're everyone's girl. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Keep that in your head. Hey, Hope, you're everyone's boy. All right. You are our boy. You are your boy. Don't be leaving this game. Everyone's hoping, for your, your hope.
We all hope.
Yeah.
I want someone to come on and just like when they get put on the block, go into the diary room and be like, well, Canada, your least favorite here. I'm on the block. Sure, you're excited. Like, I want someone to just not think that they're the favorite. You can ham it up. You can still be a star of the show and not be like, it's your boy. Look at me. Sorry, Canada, I let you down. It's like, Hope, we don't care. I mean, I'm not Canada. Maybe Canada cares.
Maybe they're trying to do a thing where they're like, okay, if I like put this out into the universe, maybe if I manifest it, Big Brother Canada is big on a Canada's vote. So they're like, okay, well, if I say that I'm Canada's boy, then maybe they'll throw me a bone and vote for me or something.
But then
like
when
that.
Canada
but then there's no
vote
live
for
feeds.
you, like if Canada doesn't vote for you, doesn't that just make you look silly? You thought you were Canada's boy and Canada didn't come
Hope's
through.
I'm not going to go out there and kiss Canada's ass. That's it. Not getting that from me.
Yeah. Well, Dan is our HOH. He's our new HOH. He tells us that going into the game, he wanted to target floaters because he didn't want to like set a precedent of targeting big targets. And he wanted other big targets around to, to hide the fact that he's also a big target, right? And honestly, that was the thing that I liked that he said preseason. I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good plan, I think, for you in the game. I think that if you are a big target bro, it's, track record has proven that, yeah, taking out the floaters and keeping the house calm and happy is a great way for those players to do well. And so I was like, okay, here we go, Dan. You're making a little bit of sense to me. I haven't heard you speak any words until now, but I'm hearing them now, and I'm like, okay. And then he said, however, upon getting into the house, I have changed my plan. I think we should target big targets. I was like, oh, never mind.
Well, I was thinking about this now, not to harp on the whole everything about it, like with floaters and nitpick the definition there, but 1 week into the game, you probably can't tell who a floater actually is at this point. But I'm assuming we're not going with the actual definition of the word. Since he's not in with the bros for the most part, I mean, he's in with some bros, but not all of them. Is it okay to then target the other ones? Like, I feel like this wouldn't have been a bad switch in mentality if he was working with the middle people. But since he's just saying this probably because Zach told him this is how to think,
Yes,
then it's not great.
Yeah, working for the people in power to take big shots for them is like worst case, I think. If you're creating like a revolution and taking a big swing, like that's okay. That's good. Because there's a whole new structure that you're creating. But if you're like, hey, the guy that controlled last week's eviction is telling me that I should do this, and I should make this big move that he wants me to do. Yeah, that sounds right to me. Let's do it.
I mean, he lost me when he said Zach's my number one in this game in the DR. That's when he lost me. I mean, he didn't have much of me to begin with. Honestly, I think I texted Sam Moore. I was like, "Who is this man? Like, who is this?"
That's your go-to Big Brother resource,
Sam. Well, we were texting about the show and about the podcast and stuff. But anyways, that's who I told. I was like, who is this man? I don't know who this man is. We didn't see him on any recaps. And he lost me when he said that, Zach's my number one in the game.
Well, can I just ask from a devil's advocate perspective? And I know Zach is, the villain of the season, but for Dan Zappo, what should he be doing with his HOH?
Speaking to anybody other than Zach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
as in just actually talk to anybody. That's step number one, because from what we've seen, he's literally only talked to Zach.
Well, I only want to say, just from a devil's advocate perspective of like, okay, well, all right, if I can see, all right, well, Zach is kind of running the house, and it's only week 2, and it gets late early around here in the Big Brother house. It's kind of like and I guess it's not guaranteed, but if I can sort of like curry favor with Zach when he's telling the next HOH what to do, maybe he's not telling people to gun for me when I'm not the HOH.
But I think he has no guarantee from Zach that Zach's not going to just turn around and do this. And since we're on the topic of Zach, I wanted to bring this up. Obviously, there's a lot in the personality of Zach that's hard to watch. The gaslighting is difficult from all angles, but there's a lot of times when we watch these shows and we really praise the person who is masterminding everything. Is there anything that we can like get behind with Zach? Like, should we just start rooting for Zach?
Well, let's not go that far, but let me just say I'm happy that Zach is on the show, because unlike many of the people that are on the show, at least Zach makes me feel something. Yeah. And I know, like, okay, I have like some sort of a compass of, okay, I have a rooting interest, even if it's rooting against him. that he's one of the few people right now on this show that's like generating anything in my stomach about how I feel towards these players. So for that, I am thankful.
Yeah.
Gaslight, gatekeep, guy boss.
I think the best comparison we can make for Zach at this point when it comes to like should we appreciate what he's doing is good old Polly California, who at one point we had a question during season 18 who was that was like, is Polly a great player? Like, are we low
Top
on
10
this
all
guy?
time? It was asked
right?
on the podcast.
Like, and it's like, just because you have control does not mean that you're doing well. And I think Zach is a perfect sort of example of that.
Oh, yes.
He says, you know, it's, hey, big fish hunting time, which I've never heard that phrase before. But, you know, he says there's no blood on his hands, but that's not true. Everyone knows that he is the one that got John Michael out. And everyone knows that he is the one pushing for this move to happen because he's the only one that talks to Dan. It's all blood on his hands. And it's very obvious. And the thing about it, he's just like burning all of his social capital to make these moves happen that aren't even good for him in the first place. I mean, think about it. Why did he want John Michael gone? Because John Michael said, I want to go after the boys. And specifically, the guy that he named was Rob. He took out John Michael, somebody who he had a very good ally in John Michael. He took him out of the game, burnt a ton of social capital on it, made it obvious to everyone he was running Santina's HOH in order to get this guy out, only to turn around the next week and say, I got to get Rob out.
He plagiarized him, copied his homework, and handed it in as his own.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was like, oh, shoot, that's a really great plan. I got to get rid of you so that I can do that plan myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm in between. Like, I think I'm with Rob here because I like a villain. I don't care if it's a good strategic villain. We love a good strategic villain. I would say Dan BB14 is an excellent strategic villain. But we're not always going to get the Dan BB14s. We're going to get the crazy Polly people. And right now, we're not getting like any content to keep us satisfied throughout the week. So when I look in to watch the episodes, I want to see someone a little insane and say to people, listen, I'm smart. So like, here's what I'm thinking. I want to laugh at somebody on my screen, even if I wouldn't, you know, personally like them in my own life or enjoy talking to them. I want to see a reality TV villain, as long as they're not, you know, crossing personal lines or seeing the stuff that we did in BB24. I like to root for Zach. He's not long for excuse me, hold on. I like to root against Zach.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But he's not long for this game. Anyways, we can see that.
Yes, Jonathan and Rob, they see a divide coming, and there is one on the way. So Hope, as we talked about, he's upset about the situation. He's gonna end up volunteering for the block. Now this is kind of a tricky situation because on the drop, on the daily drop, we heard him tell Rob, I'm volunteering for the block. I told Dan I want to go up because it's my time. I want to leave the game. In the episode, they kind of made it seem like, oh, you know, I just want to play in the veto, prove myself to the boys. But that is not the sense that we got on the drop, and I am much more inclined to believe the uncut version of the story. You know, it's obviously he eventually kind of comes around to be like, maybe I don't want to leave, but I do believe that at one point in time he was hoping to get out of there.
A lot of hope. Hope it's out of his system. Don't think it is.
So full of hope.
Mm-hmm.
We had a great segment here. This was probably my favorite bit from the episode because it actually was interesting. Daniel talking to Anika, and he kind of gives her the state of the house, which, as we know, was actually very needed for Anika, and very telling as to like what Daniel is thinking. And he essentially says he wants to create a middle person rebellion. which is always something that is worth considering because it also has a very good track record of working, actually, getting the middle people together and solidifying them. Even the bros back in Big Brother Canada 4, were able to succeed with that kind of strategy. So it's good stuff.
Yeah. This is very exciting to see this. But Taran, could you give a reset for us besides the people in this conversation of Daniel and Anika? Who are the middle people?
So Daniel sees them as himself, Anika, Kuzi, Vanessa, who, yes, there is a Vanessa on this season.
Are you sure?
She is trying to disguise herself, I think, at various points, like hiding behind vacuums. It's who knows, but Vanessa, and then I think he also mentioned that he could see Dan as somebody that could be in the middle. But obviously, I don't know how long that's going to last.
Both the Dans in one alliance.
Yeah, too many Dans.
Yeah, this was a really great conversation. He was fairly accurate with his read of the house based on everything we've seen. Also, it's really great to hear that a middle person rebellion is announced at a time when there are still many middle people left. Like it's kind of, you usually get to this point where 2 or 3 people see the writing on the wall, but it's halfway through the season and the people who are in the middle don't realize they're in the middle because they think they're in the big alliances. I'm curious how you think people, they sort of broke down, Daniel broke down that you got the bros over on one side and then you've got the girls who hang out on the other side, and whether or not they're in firm alliances, at the very least aren't planning on targeting each other soon, and they'll probably go after the middle people, which I'd say is more correct when it comes to the girls, who I guess in this case are Claudia, Renee, and Shania, I guess, are the people there. We get a lot of Claudia in these episodes and see that she also has somewhat of an idea, at least, of what the bros are doing, but can't get a whole lot of traction with either making an inroad with Ty strategically or with getting the girls on board. So I feel like that's also a person who is there's a non-zero chance that Claudia would be down to take a shot at someone as well.
Yeah, Claudia is interesting because I think she's a capable player with promise, but it is starting to feel like her distraction with Ty is causing her to stall out in the game a little bit. And I was kind of disappointed to hear her say in this episode that I want Ty to be my number 1 in the game. I want to tell him everything, but he's not giving me enough, which kind of tells me that if Ty ever like smartens up and just like gives her some stuff, that she would end up going along with him instead of like just keeping things back. But even as things are, I feel like she is like riding this line of, I kind of want to go in Ty's direction, but he's not giving me anything. And so I had to kind of revert back to the women's direction. But because I'm walking on both sides of this line, I'm not in really either place. And I feel like she really needs to find her lane soon, or the people like Daniel and Kuzi and Anika who are in the middle and are looking for people will think, can't include Claudia. We just don't know where she stands. And that's not going to be good for her.
Yeah, I just really want Claudia to stand up. Every episode I watch, I'm like, girl, stand up. Like, see the writing on the wall. I don't like the way that he talks to her. It just bothers me, like, personally. But also from the game perspective, I don't know. I don't want to count her out just yet. And I know that you're not, Taran, but I'm saying I don't know. I feel like I see something in her, and I saw something in her in the very first episode even. I just feel like she could potentially see that she could have both lanes. And I don't know if she's necessarily trying to pick one. I think she wants... I mean, I don't know if she thinks that she could potentially get Ty to eventually give her some information. You never know what happens in this house. It's only week 2. He could eventually give in and give her some information, especially if the guys' alliance does break. And then, of course, then she'll have, the girls and Daniel and Dan, and yeah, I think that was it. So I don't know. I'm rooting for Claudia, and I don't really want to count her out just yet.
Yeah, I feel the same way. She was the one who was the biggest surprise for me watching the first episode and the one since is the fact that she both sees this, tells the audience, and also has told many of the guys, that called them out, dug in a little deeper of who they're working for. I could see it going multiple directions. I could see her just saying, all right, I'm going to just throw my lot in with Ty, even if he's not telling me anything, and get trapped there. But considering so many times we see people in showmances feel like they're in and just throw caution to the wind, it's refreshing to see someone who at least can tell that he's not being honest with her. And probably a lot of this also should just be a discredit to Ty, not like at least give her something fake, right? Like, you don't need to, he's not playing this well.
Can we go back to the sweater incident? What
please.
part of Roberto going up on the block this week is potentially that Ty was still salty about the sweater incident?
I'm very glad you brought this up, Rob, because this was my next topic, because I was very disappointed that we did not get part 2 of Sweatergate in this episode. That if you have not been keeping up with the daily updates, right before this HOH competition, the day of, Ty and Zach had a conversation in the bedroom, and they were pissed. They were appalled because guess what happened, Rob? Roberto, that son of a gun, he made a joke about Claudia wearing his sweater.
What was the joke?
Right in front of everyone. We don't know what the joke was, Rob. We needed to see it in the episode because it wasn't in the drop. They just talked about the joke. But Rob, he knew what he was doing. Okay? He knew exactly what he was doing. And hey, it's jokes are jokes in front of the boys. But in front of everyone, do you know how that makes me look? Do you know? He needs to leave. And that's when they came up with the plan that if Dan or Hope won HOH, they were going to convince Dan or Hope to take out Rob.
Like, it was way too early. I feel like they should have put this in the episode, because to me, because I am very casual this year, not by choice. But by watching it, I'm wondering what's going on. Why are they turning on him so quickly as a casual?
It's also so entertaining.
Yeah. They could go back to it. I mean,
yeah,
I don't
maybe
really see how, but hopefully.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard when people have names that are nouns.
I just couldn't believe, like, instead of that, we get big fish hunting. Let's get some sweaters in here. But what are we?
That was just unbelievable. Can I just say, like, that was unbelievable to watch a girl that he had met at 72 hours before that. At that point, I don't even know when that was taped. You're that upset. Come on, my guy. Like, what's his insecurity?
But is he upset, or is he just like, oh, my job in the alliance was to have Claudia, and she's doing her own thing. I don't have her as completely as I thought I did.
I don't know.
A nice sweater.
Don't they all have the same, or is that was it not the one that they all have?
No, I think it was like one of his sweaters, like
his own personal ones.
Yeah.
Okay,
but I mean, they're all wearing each other's sweaters. It's like a thing.
They're all cheering that "Dump Him" T-shirt that I cannot get out of my brain. So why can't they share sweaters?
Rob, what would happen if I came onto a podcast wearing one of your sweaters?
Would Nicole be upset?
Would Nicole be upset? Would she be like, whoa?
Boy. First off, how would she know? But boy, I think she would be okay with that. We're colleagues. I think that would be fine.
Oh, okay. Well, what about you wearing one of my sweaters?
If I was wearing your sweater, again, I think that we're not, like, I feel like this is not exactly the same scenario.
I'm pretty sure it's the exact same scenario, Rob. I don't know. Your name is literally Rob.
Yeah, I guess so. It is true. Yeah.
I guess just ship it to each other after this podcast.
Maybe we should all pass around like one sweater to all the podcasters and see who gets jealous.
There you go.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like podcast.
Everybody, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do
that.
Everybody do one podcast wearing the sweater, and then you pass it on.
That's so fun. I like this.
Yeah. Might be pretty sweaty by the end. These podcasts get hot.
You have
better do it before the summer. Yeah.
Yeah. Depends how I get it after.
Boy. Well,
oh, who did? I'm gonna get Mary's list after the podcast.
we did get one good decision from production in this episode, and that is bringing back the brain transformation specialist himself, Chris Wiley, and as well as the full not recognizing your mom clip. I've got to say, I forgot that she literally kissed him.
It's crazy.
Before he recognized who she was. And so he got a kiss from the Wendy's this is probably recycled material at this point, but he got a kiss from the Wendy's person and was like, yeah, that's normal. Nice to meet you.
That should be the Wendy's commercial. That Wendy's is so delicious. You forget who your actual mom is.
His brain was too transformed.
My favorite part of it is just the fact that even when he does find out, it's not like oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. I didn't realize. He's just like, oh, mom. He's like, it's your mother.
Yeah, and as Corey points out in the chat, he literally read her name tag and went, hey, Kim.
Nice to meet you.
You guys, this is why when people are like, why don't you go on Big Brother? You should apply. I will never go in that house because this is what it does to your brain. I don't want to know what it's going to do to
brain
mine.
transformation specialist. This is not normal.
Exactly.
It is telling that the best part of this episode was a clip from a previous season.
Well, I was pretty
Yeah.
shocked that they mentioned BBCAN
Right?
8 at all.
Mhm.
Like the fact
Yeah.
that we had that. He mentioned the fact that his game was cut short. I'm sure I had lots of thoughts about Chris during Big Brother Canada 8, and at this point, I'm like, oh, this was fun. Bring back him, maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
to
I
me,
thought they were going to pretend it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's what I thought too. But yeah, like for me, he's just like I no thoughts about him at all, except he's the Wendy's mom guy, and
Yeah.
they delivered. So I'm glad. You know what? I'm actually happy that maybe that's the reason they brought him. They're like, hey, let's get a little meme going, get some kind of traction online.
Yeah, where's his portrait in the house? Come on.
Yeah, he deserves it after that experience.
Where's Sheldon and Brooke as the final two to leave the Big Brother Canada 8 house on the massive portrait of final twos? I mean, come on, guys, let's get this going. Well, we see Chris. He also
hold
like
on, Taran. Do you think that maybe like it's like, oh, okay, you guys don't love this season. Maybe let's start to get like some of these BBCAN 8 people in here. Like maybe that'll like boost the popularity of this season. Like let's just like backdoor finish BBCAN 8 instead of this season.
I'd love
then-
that.
Then
Were
they would
they-
bring
were they
Jamar
like-
back.
Yeah. Maybe they were like, listen, I know you hate this season, but it could be worse. It could be BBCAN 8. But here we are like, oh man, remember that? That was great.
Yeah, but like even if they were to come and tell us, oh yeah, this season's canceled, would you move? I wouldn't. At this point, I would be like, okay, it's canceled. I don't know if I would
Yeah.
care that much.
Didn't you already make this announcement like a few weeks ago?
Yeah, before it
Oh
started.
no, that was just the live feeds. All right, it's so similar. Sorry, I just got it mixed up in my head. Yeah. So he says, bring it home for the people who couldn't finish their own games. And he's gonna bring up some breakfast to Zach, and Zach has some things to say, and in order to say them, he's gonna whip out the gummy bears.
Are all the HOH rooms just stocked with the gummy bears now? Is this just like standard issue?
This is like when like a twist lands really well and like on Survivor, and then they
Yeah.
just include it all the time, even if it never plays out. They're like, listen, we got in case anybody ever is in need of gummy bears, they need to be ready to go at their fingertips. They have, I bet they hired specifically a gummy bear person on their crew that is just
They need a
there to
gummy bear
replenish gummy
sponsor.
bears and make sure. Yeah, they should have a gummy bear sponsor. I don't know why they don't. They're missing out on that. Let's get some Haribo. I don't know how to say it.
Haribo.
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 Haribo. And make it happen here. I bet they'd be okay with live feeds. So, because they're chill. It's just always need to have gummy bears. It's key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look
I
how
had
effective they are.
Yeah, so this scene, he was like, I'm going to tell you, I'm gonna blow your mind. I'm gonna hang with
Mm.
me. I love the like, I'm telling you something incredibly simple, but I'm gonna keep saying now hang with me. Are you still with me? I'm about to say something really big to make it seem bigger than it was. When really what he was basically doing is like, this is the person I want you to put up.
Yeah. I honestly, I tried to listen to Zach, but I think I have like one of those like brain filters that if somebody's giving me like a PowerPoint presentation, even if it is with gummy bears and they sound like they're an SVP of a company, I just can't like listen to them. But like it just felt like garbledy-gook to me, and it was like reason, Renee. Reason, Rob. Eh? And Dan was like, oh, yeah. That was how I read the scene.
Now destroy the evidence.
Eat them, quick.
Eat them, quick. They're coming.
Yeah, I want him to be more like, I want him to be more like Polly in the sense of, like I said earlier, okay, we need him. He's entertaining. He's this and he's that. All still true. But I want him to like wave a little American flag around. I want him to do like crazy stuff like that and not just piss me off, like hear this guy who's like, yeah, I'm really smart. And here's why. For like a segment, and then we move on, and that's like the best we can get. Like, I want to show, I'm willing to bet he's been part of some insane conversations where he's talking to Kuzi, and Kuzi's just kind of like making that face at him. And we got some stuff today on the digital daily, so like I'm sure it's coming, but I would rather see a lot of that. I'd rather see people actively challenging him, because I can't confirm it, but I know damn well it's happening. Come on, everyone can tell. I want to see it.
Rob, what's the Polly quote with the meat? Just subbing gummy bears.
Yeah, I believe it's
bread for this.
Oh wait, let me see.
Close.
They're ready.
That was pretty close. Yeah. Your boy needs his meat. Yeah.
This is a damn good steak. This thing is cooked to perfection, and I'm all about it because these biceps ain't gonna feed themselves. Your boy needs his meat.
Yeah.
Your boy again.
Zach in the diary room is going to be like, look, these biceps, they don't feed themselves. Your boy, he needs his gummy bears, all right?
I don't think we're deep frying gummy bears. Is that what he said? Grilled to perfection? Whatever he said. Ew.
Hey, have you ever tried a grilled gummy bear?
Yeah, it will melt.
It sounds like you haven't tried it.
Okay, I'll try it. I'll record it and I'll post it. There we go.
Perfect.
I promise. I actually bought some today, so we'll do it.
Oh,
there we go. This podcast sponsored by
Haribo.
Haribo.
You sound like a sim.
I'm really bad at words I've never spoken aloud but only read. Like, you know what I mean? That's one of them. I'm just like, you've already said it to me multiple times, and I'm still just like Haribo.
Har.
Well, having seen Zach whip out his gummies, Rob is getting a little worried.
very much so.
And Hope has changed his mind. He no longer wants to go on the block, which is super awkward. Just like, hey, yeah, you know how I told you I did want to go on the block? I'm actually thinking like not anymore. What would you think about that? If you're Dan, you got to be like, oh, dude, come on. I've already made plans. I bought the tickets. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Like I'm out like $50 here. You really don't want to go anymore? Like, because I already invited somebody else, and now you're saying you want to come again. It's just like now I got to tell that other person that they can't come. It's just like you've made it awkward.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. I mean, granted, we don't know, what really happened. To me, again, like I think we said earlier, it sounded like he wanted to leave. It sounded like he was pulling a meta world peace, like vote me out, put me on the block, vote me out. I don't know, but it was very hard to watch. It's much like a lot of the season.
Could you have done like reverse psychology to hope and said like, well, I guess we'll never know if you can win a competition now. So I guess it's just going to be, we'll have to wait to see if you can do it. I mean, I kind of thought you would come in here and get some W's.
Yeah, like, you know what? I hope you're right. This is actually a good thing because, you know, it'll give somebody else a chance to really shine in this veto competition and really,
I get it if you're scared of playing in the veto.
It's okay. I understand, you know, I've competed in a veto and won or came close, and, you know, and then I competed in an HOH and I did win that one. And, you know, it's scary to compete in these competitions, but luckily,
very embarrassing to lose.
I'm very physically fit. Yeah. So, you know, it's all good.
It sounds like half the people on the season want to be on the challenge, or they thought they were going on the challenge and we're like, wow, what's this? Why am I in a house?
Maybe somebody's going to be the first person to go from Big Brother Canada to the Challenge CBS.
Do they have a Challenge Canada
Challenge
version?
USA?
I thought there was.
Has somebody from
Big Brother Canada?
Big Brother Canada gone to MTV The Challenge?
I dreamed that.
I feel like you could. I feel like going on the Challenge USA would be harder for the Canadian players than just regular Challenge.
That's a good point.
They're not USA.
Oh, I think I saw Jamar and Minley on something else.
Didn't they go on like X on the Beach or something?
X on the Beach. All right, so they're in that universe.
Godfrey, by the way, currently on the Canadian Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, and Sam. I think
Sam.
Samantha?
Yes.
And Cole from Survivor HHH.
Yes, I also knew that. The rock climber guy?
Yep. Bachelor in Paradise Canada is going to be wild.
They're not going to keep him out of that house. He'll climb it into the window. So we also we come back to Renee and sorry, she did it to herself. Renee and her bootay. That's in trouble.
Oh my God. No.
She's got to pull out her girly pops and figure it out, eh?
I'm going to Google what girly pops are.
That's a good
careful.
idea.
I'm going to be careful. I think if it was obscene, they wouldn't say it on television at the 7 o'clock hour.
I don't know. The internet can turn anything obscene.
So Dan in this conversation says he doesn't want to divide the house. And I know that there's like probably lots of ways to break down this strategy, but you were just on the block, Dan. You have a solid one ally at this point. I feel like what you absolutely want to do is divide the house, because if you divide the house and you pick a side, then you've got like a 50% chance of being safe. If you don't divide the house, you're probably going on the block pretty soon again, because it just happened to you last time.
Yeah. Also, just like in general, I mean, I think the reason he's saying that is because Zach is telling him this will divide the house, this won't divide the house, right? And I think he's just literally regurgitating those words.
How does everyone else know that Zach was responsible for the nominations last week, except for Dan?
I mean, we
Dan
haven't seen much of
anybody.
Yeah.
He's like got his headphones on. He's doing like DJing in his brain. It's to me, and you know, Claudia talked about this. A couple of people talked about this. The obvious nomination here is Santina. Santina needs to be nominated, even if she's just a pawn, because you cannot send the message in the house that you can get put up on the block by somebody and they really don't make a whole lot of effort to keep you around. You don't promise them anything, and then you turn around, win the following week, and don't even touch them. Like, that's not a good message to send. If you put Santina up, you say, listen, if you put me up even as a pawn, you might be in trouble later. That prevents you from being used as a pawn in the future. But if you don't put them up in retaliation, then people are going to think, it's safe to put up Dan. I can either take a shot and miss or just use him as a pawn. Either way, he'll just do something else. It doesn't matter to Dan.
It's a good point.
Yeah. I'm assuming because Zach told him not to.
Yes, that is. Yeah.
So the term girly pop refers to a
Okay.
girl who is, according to Amazon Alexa, a girl who is cool, basic, and or bubbly.
What about
I
Buble?
feel like
I don't know.
Basic
I mean, that's the
doesn't
commercials we're
sound
seeing
good.
every time.
Yeah.
Is basic?
Yeah,
Can you be
basic-
basic and cool?
I feel
Just
like
not that
basic,
exciting. Yeah.
yeah, has recently, kind of fairly recently in history, taken on a new meaning. Whereas before, I felt like it was just kind of like passable. I don't know. I feel like it wasn't as negative as it is now.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Mid
So-
has supplanted basic.
Basic
What
mid.
was-
I mean, that was
Oh,
Helena was
mid.
basic mid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather.
I don't think
I'd
basic
rather
was
hear this
one of Turner's words. I don't think it was on
Well,
his chart.
I think
He
it's outdated.
sounded.
Yeah.
He sounded a little basic. So
Mhm.
there's that.
All right. Well, I feel like my bootay is in trouble after this podcast and episode.
Why?
I don't know. I'm just trying to put more bootay in the podcast.
Mhm.
Put more
Doesn't
Buble
hurt.
in the podcast. I actually really I did enjoy the episode. I'm not gonna say I really liked it. I enjoyed watching it. It just didn't give me a whole lot of strategy to think about. With the exception of the Daniel
Yeah.
conversation and then like Zach doing his thing, that was pretty much it. But I enjoyed the I enjoyed the Big Brother Canada 8 clip. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was a good part of it.
Mhm. Hey, still 2 more nights this week.
yeah,
Yay.
perfect.
Mhm.
Hey, if we could get clips from previous seasons in every episode, like we're starting to win a little more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about something a little bit exciting from social media?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Please.
So, did you all happen to see JM may had some comments that were took Twitter by storm because that he had a message for the people complaining about no live feeds.
Mm.
So us.
Yeah, I heard he heard some things from production.
Yeah. Okay. Can I pulled the clip. Can I play it?
Let's do it.
Okay. Here we go.
For all you I want live feeds kind of people,
Who is he doing an impression of, by the way? Which one of
Taran?
you was he doing an impression of?
That was Taran.
That was Taran.
Sounds
I
like
want
me.
live
I don't know.
for all you I want live feeds kind of people, what I had heard was y'all are toxic. So y'all did this to yourselves. Is that what you're saying? Is that what we're admitting to?
No.
So
I mean, I don't think anybody admitted to that. but go off, King.
maybe we need to learn something. Maybe we shouldn't be biting the hand that feeds us. How about that? Have we all thought that yet?
Okay. Yeah. Anybody think of that?
First of
hadn't
all,
thought of
I'm
that.
I'm starving. Like I'm not biting. I'm not being fed.
You're just
so,
hungry. That's why.
I've never
Right,
related to
so-
Zach more in my life. This is exactly what Zach felt when JM came up to him and said, "I'm going after the boys."
Yeah, I mean, look, the whole thing has been talked to death, but like, is anybody who watched the feeds mad that or happy that the feeds are gone? That would be an interesting segment of the population check-in because it either seems like people who
Like, oh
didn't
my God,
watch
my
the
life-
feeds
I got
are,
my
like,
life back.
fine. Yeah,
Mary,
people.
you just invited a bunch of people, whether they watched the feeds or not, to be like, me, that's me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I understand that there are people who didn't watch the feeds who are like, yeah, they people who watch the feeds were toxic and bad. All of that's understandable. It's just the fact that this, to use the "don't bite the hand that feeds you" analogy, the feed watchers are people who are fans of the show. So the show is biting the hand that fed it, feeds it,
hmm Yeah.
and
Here, let me add some clarification from Melissa, and then are we sure that the JM wasn't talking about anybody?
For all you, I want live feeds kind of people.
Yeah, but
wait,
Melissa,
was that a Melissa clip or a JM clip?
no. Melissa says, to be fair, on Twitter Spaces, JM clarified he was trying to be funny and didn't realize that was a really sensitive topic for us.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that as well, but I was going to say it just sounds like, and I don't mean this in an like aggressive way, but it sounded like something coming from somebody who doesn't really know the show, because the main thing, and again, I don't know, maybe he's a huge fan, I don't know, he's just trying to be funny, whatever, but I think that the big thing for me personally was the show is not Big Brother without 24/7 surveillance. That's the point. That's what Big Brother means. That's what it meant in 1984, which is where it comes from. So to me, the show's not Big Brother right now. And that's why I was just kind of like, well, you're missing the main point. That's why it annoyed me. And not because, well, he's just like making fun of us and all this stuff, whatever, and I want to like jump on him. None of that. It's just a matter of, it just sounded like he didn't really get what most people were saying.
For all you, I want live feeds kind of people.
Listen, I honestly, I don't think like, I don't blame him. I think that the thing is that this is clearly a representation of production, right? Like he doesn't know, because as Melissa said, like he didn't know this was a sensitive topic because he doesn't know anything about what's happening here. He got all of his information from production. The way he spoke that into existence was clearly what was fed to him by production when they talked to him about it. So he is representing production's attitude toward us, in my eyes. And that's not surprising at all. Especially,
but how are you a fan and you don't know this?
Well,
so
how are you supposedly like a big fan of the show? You don't know any of this.
He only recently got into the more hardcore side of things. In prepping for, I think, the show, he was starting to watch some videos and stuff. But prior to that, I think he was just a show watcher.
But even if I didn't want to watch live feeds, I like that live feeds exist. Like I need them to exist to make the show interesting. There's plenty of times where I've missed live feeds, but I like to listen to the updates or read about them. You know, the first 18 seasons of Big Brother that I watched without live feeds. I watched them retroactively, but I still went and Googled what happened on the live feeds and listened to podcasts about what happened on the live feeds, because that's how you get the full picture. So I don't think it, like, for the people who don't watch live feeds, don't care about it, then you're fine. Nothing has changed. To the people who do watch live feeds, let them have live feeds. If you don't want to be part of that toxic conversation, and get out of the conversation.
This whole idea that the fan base is too toxic, I feel like, is one step removed from them being like, it's this woke culture.
Yeah.
We need to ban the topics. Like they are literally like just one step away from there, in my opinion.
Yeah. And, for me personally, I don't always watch I don't have the time to always watch live feeds. Similar to Mary, I'll look it up, or I'll listen to Taran, or whatever the case. But I like to open my phone to Twitter and see people talking about it. It's just constant stuff. I like to click on the hashtag. I go to latest. It literally says every single time, at least for like Big Brother 24, for example, it would say 6 seconds ago, 7 seconds ago, 9 seconds ago. That's how quickly tweets were coming through. When I click on BBCAN11, after, I think I heard Mari yesterday say that she'll click on the hashtag because she remembers after 3 days she hasn't. Similar to me as well. I'll do that and it'll say like 5 minutes ago, and then I'll scroll a couple. It'll be like 15 minutes ago. It's just so dead. It's the community aspect of it that is the most upsetting to me personally. So I don't know. I don't want to overblow JM's.
Yeah, JM brought it back. He got people talking again. He saved the hashtag.
We all agree.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was the big plan. Yeah, it's interesting because everything Lovina said is really true. It's just not the point of the show without the 24/7 surveillance, or whatever percentage of that we actually get to watch on live feeds. And yeah, it's sad, but like the community can only be as toxic as the players. So
Oh, there you go. That's another
Right.
thing.
I will say that, none of the other shows that we talk about have live feeds and people do talk about the other shows.
Mhm.
So like if something exciting is like going on, like if Zach is on the block or, somebody who, Kuzi wins HOH or something like that, I do think that people will be tweeting about the shows, but it's just not going to be 24/7.
Yeah.
You all
And I'm
had to
not
bite the hand that fed you.
right.
I mean, not every show, is on for a decade plus, right? And I think that's kind of one of the main differences. And I think the live feeds are a huge part of why this show has lasted as long as it has. But we'll see.
And I'll say this, JM, again, like Melissa said, he apologized for it and said it's not what I was intending to do. So I guess he kind of, if he's new to the community, it's like welcome, I guess. He's getting a warm welcome, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's truly it's not just us whining to whine. It's, again, I'll say it, the core concept of the show is no longer, and that's really the problem.
Well, and Rob said it on a Survivor podcast recently. This Rob, not Roberto.
Not Roberto.
Yeah, it's the reason people are upset is because when a thing you love isn't at its best, you're going to be upset about it. You're still going to watch it. You're still going to talk about it, but you're going to be sad for the good thing it could be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we do have some spoilers that we can talk through. Yeah. We know what has happened since this episode, at least a little bit. Are we prepared for this?
Prepared.
I'm pulling a Chappelle.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
a spoiler.
Warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
spoiler
against this country has been detected and that protective action should be taken.
The clapping noises.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So we just saw that Renee and Hope were nominated for eviction. And we then had a veto competition that Hope got to compete in. He's ready for his dub. Here it comes. And Zach won the power veto.
Okay.
Yay.
No, we're all in on Zach, remember?
Person? Yeah, and I meant that.
Who said what? Whoa, who played that clip? That was weird. Zach won the veto, and his plan to take out Rob and remove his sweater from the house went into motion as he used the veto on Hope, and Dan replaced Hope with Rob. So Rob has been blindsided. The house is in chaos, and it is Rob versus Renee on eviction night.
Is the house in chaos?
Look, Rob, we're trying here.
Okay.
Don't be. You don't need to be asking questions like that. You know?
I mean,
you're poking holes in my story. All right.
You're my go-to guy for information. Not text Sam Moore.
So the basics here are that Jonathan is very pro Rob. He's trying to campaign to keep Rob around. Santina seems to have turned her back on Zach and is hoping to keep Rob as well, although that's not quite as locked in. And the big story here is, what will this middle group do? Kuzi, Anika, and Daniel will likely have the ability to sway this vote one way or the other, depending on who they want to keep around. Rob, who is a big threat and target, and somebody that could threaten their games later down the road, but would be a big target in front of them and would go after Zach for them. Or Renee, who is not proven to be great at comp so far, so not as much of an asset, but also not as hard to beat later on once they do get rid of Zach. So they're kind of trying to figure this out at the moment.
I think regardless, what they should definitely do is talk to either Renee or Rob or both and let them know that they're the ones saving him or her if that happens. That I would say their better move is to keep Rob and make sure Rob knows who is responsible for him going up, meaning not them, and try to get Rob to build a coalition to go after the other side, split the house. That's what you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree completely. I was going to ask a clarifying question, but I'm not even going to do it. I don't know if he knows. I don't know if Rob knows who is responsible. I'm assuming he does or will.
Rob his campaign is anti-Zach, and they had a
Okay.
whole confrontation about it.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Well, okay, first of all, that gives me hope for the episode this week.
Hope's off the block, Lovina.
I mean, listen, I think that the best move, in my opinion, would be to keep Rob. Not because I dislike Renee or whatever, but I don't know. I wish we could keep both of them because I feel like both of them have a lot to show. But if I were the Daniel C group, I would choose to bring Rob in. I'm hoping that's what happens. Again, we don't know, but we'll see.
Renee has a bootay to show.
Yes.
Sorry, I tried. Yeah,
She has a thing.
She has her thing. I like both of them. This isn't necessarily the outcome I wanted, but I just really, really, really want to see some people not being afraid about making people in the house mad at them. You want some people to be mad, maybe not at you, but at other people. You don't want everything to just be a 10-1 vote.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where their heads seem to be at this point, because everyone has kind of collectively agreed that taking out John Michael last week was not what they wanted. And they've all expressed a desire to not have to do that again. So, they are trying to think more critically about what is good for us, what do we want to do, and move forward with that. Unfortunately, this vote isn't quite as clear cut as last week's was, just because last week you had a Zach puppet and an anti-Zacher on the block, whereas this time you have two anti-Zachers on the block. You pick your poison. Do you want the more valuable one to fight Zach, but then is tougher to beat later, or do you want the one that might be a little easier to beat, but won't help you as much to take Zach on? You just got to figure that out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I also feel like that Renee probably like a better ally to the women in the house. Like maybe Rob is more likely to win a competition, but like besides for Jonathan, I mean, is Rob really talking to a lot of other people in the house?
Rob is a lot I think at this point, that's my concern for the idea of keeping Rob is like, okay, you keep Rob. Yes, he's anti-Zach. That's great. Once Zach is gone or neutralized, now Rob has Jonathan, Hope, Shania, maybe even Ty and Claudia if Ty jumps ship. Like, now it's starting to look a little dangerous. Now, obviously, because Rob still doesn't seem to know that Ty is like the real, like, the sweater situation is really the reason he's here, to a degree. But if Ty is sort of like cowed enough with Zach being targeted, I could easily see him kind of like swallowing his pride for a little bit and going and running back to Rob for the time being. So, there is a danger, I think, in putting the power into this guy's hands when he's on the block right now, and Renee is probably a better ally to have, in the long run. So I do think it's a tricky choice.
Can you guys now imagine if Zach wins HOH next week? That's good TV. Come on, guys. Come on, chat.
That's when we're like, oh man, game over. No, it's it would be let's say they kept Rob and then Zach won. Does he go straight back after Rob? Does he go after the people that betray? I feel like Zach's the kind of guy who would be like, all right, Rob, handshake. I tried it, but listen, at the end of the day, it's clear to me there are way more snakes in this game than you. You are a straight up player, and that was my bad. And also, it was really your fault if you think about it. So anyway, time to go after the real snakes of this house. The people that betrayed me. like Kuzi and Daniel and all of these people that I'm betrayed by. I could see that being a dangerous position.
I
Ugh,
really
boo.
am looking forward to the point when someone can, when Zach can convince someone that taking out Vanessa and Kuzi is the big move that they need to do.
Mm. I mean, have you seen the gummy bears? They make it clear.
They do make them clear. Yeah, that's one of the
Those
flavors.
are my favorite ones.
Pineapple.
Yeah.
Usually.
Good one.
All right. Anything else? Anything else we want to talk about here?
No.
Nope. I don't know how we talked about that for an hour and 15.
No,
We're professionals.
Mhm.
it's great. It was
we,
great.
we say after talking about pimple popping and farting. Anyway, that's what we have for you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will be back tomorrow night after Survivor will be on first. Rob will be live with the know-it-alls. And then after Rob is finished up with the know-it-alls, we'll be live to recap tomorrow night's episode, the Wednesday night episode of Big Brother Canada 11. I should also be live at some point during the day, hopefully 3 p.m. Eastern, to update you on the next drop from the Big Brother Canada house to see what has happened since yesterday in terms of this vote between Rob and Renee and all of that stuff. So tune in for that as well. I'll also be live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, watching the episode live with all of you, as well as watching Survivor, which should be a good time as well. So check all of that out. Check out the Among Us videos I'm dropping over on YouTube. And, that's about what we got. Rob, what's coming up here?
Oh, well, coming up for me in about 30 minutes, I'm going to be alive one more time tonight as we get ready to talk about it. It was another big reality TV finale this week, as I will be back together with myself, Jenny Autumn, Puya, and Chappelle to talk about the finale of season 1 of TLC's MILF Manor. Boy, if you told me earlier this week that I'd be talking about Zach and the MILFs, I'd be like, hey, haven't we talked enough about the Jets lately? But no, it's going to be a return to MILF Manor one last time to talk about the finale. That's going to be live by popular demand at 10 p.m. Eastern, live tonight. Plus everything else we have going on with Survivor tomorrow night, as you mentioned. And then also for the patrons, Rob's podcast dropped a patron 5 for 5 podcast earlier tonight with some news about some upcoming events that we have scheduled for the spring involving Survivor and Big Brother. So that is in our patron podcast feed. You can check that out at robswebsite.com/patron.
All right, Lovina, what do you got going on?
Just trying to watch Big Brother, trying to stay positive. I'm still gonna watch it. Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to. If you, again, like we said earlier, if you love something, you might be upset, but you're probably still gonna watch it. I'm that person, so trying to tweet about it. You can follow me on Twitter at lpavs with 2 S's. Also tweet about other fun stuff like sports and all. Actually, I have been watching Survivor this year, so talk about that more.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. Mary, what about you?
You can follow me at Frail Mary everywhere. And I like to talk, the same as Lovina. I like to talk about Big Brother. And so, I'm not all down. I'm down, but I'm not out yet. So I'm still hanging in here. And next up for me is Love is Blind season 4 coming out this week. So everybody get ready for that. And you can check out me and Asia and our coverage on that on RHAP, as always.
And to Mary and Lovina, remember to keep.
I remember all my ride or dies from the beginning. I see who flip-flops. I see who comes back when the times are good. I see who leaves when the times are bad.
We're not leaving when the times are bad. We're fine.
Why is he talking in an accent? Like, what was that?
Keep on feeding the positive. Remember,
don't question the method. He's good for this.
So good. So good.
All right. Well, that's what we have for you tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see all of you next time.